right, so we got a great crowd and a big crowd, so I want to get going so we make sure we get through all the presentations today. I'm Tracy Parsons. I'm the facilitator of our monthly Community Coalition meeting. We start off each meeting with introductions, so you get a feel for who's in the room, and you are just to say who you are and where you're from, and don't promote your programs and activities and upcoming events or any of those kind of things, right? All right, I think that's everyone. So round of applause. Thank you, everybody. So a special welcome to our students that are here today. Let's give them another round of applause. Wall Street Jewelers is a little further down on the agenda. All right. So Jorge is going to lead us off with the City of Champaign Blueprint update.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jorge Elvira. I'm with the City of Champaign. I'm a Community Relations Manager, and I'm here to talk to you about the Community Violence Reduction Blueprint that was implemented this year. Just kind of give you an update as to what we do, the staff that we have fully staffed now, and just kind of, give everybody some general information. So we have 4 individuals that are on staff with me. One of them is Jarrell Young. He's a justice victims advocate. He's not here right now. He had to leave for a family emergency.
My name is Eric Togan. I'm a JVA, justice victim advocate, sorry.
I am Kellen Brown. I am one of the Impact Outreach workers.
Hello, everyone. I am Tadariana Height, the Impact Outreach worker.
Thank you. So our Community Violence Reduction Blueprint has 3 major goals. This is kind of a review for everyone. I just wanted to give everybody some general information as to where we're at, right? Goal number 1 is prevent, reduce gun violence, and promote safety. And we do that by a lot of different ways, right? We partner with agencies within the community, with nonprofits. We provide youth programming. We will be putting out some more RFPs for some family mentoring, some faith-based mentoring, family services, and law services as well. Those are RFPs to come down the road. We've already put out the youth programming one, and gladly to say that Wall Street Jewelers is one of our partners and that we collaborate with. So hands up to Wall Street Jewelers. I don't want to be left out of that. Community engagement and support. We do a lot of community engagement. We support all the activities that are going on throughout the city departments, throughout the city, with the neighborhood services or anything else that's going on, right? During the summer, we supported the block parties. We did Hedge Pop Park. We did shop with, not shop with a cop, but coffee with a cop. We did all those different activities. So we try to be involved in all the different activities within the Champaign community to engage with the community. We also have data-driven assessment. So our program or our blueprint is being assessed and evaluated through an outside evaluator for efficacy and outcomes. So when we say that, we want to make sure that the funds that are being put into the programs and into the city are being used and maximized in the best way possible. So we have an outside evaluator that comes and evaluates the processes within the city, the partnerships that we have with our different partners, to make sure that everything is, flowing in the way it needs to happen for outcomes as it's delineated in the program. Go ahead. So we deal with root cause behavior, and that's why we don't really focus on, when we work with individuals, we work on trying to reduce these root causes, right? Income inequality, poverty, underfunded public housing, under-resourced public services, underperforming schools, lack of opportunity and perceptions of hopelessness, and easy access to firearms. We do these through our organizations that we work with and that we help fund. We have over 10 partnerships currently and looking for more partnerships to build throughout the city and the county to work with our Champaign residents. So we directly work on focusing on these root causes to reduce the gun violence within our community. These are some of the partnerships that we have that we call blueprint partners, and some of the ones that we wish to establish. So currently, We work with Crime Stoppers, First Followers, Steam Genius, just to mention a couple. But this is the kind of the circle that we want to create so that everyone is connected. What we do is we have monthly meetings with our Blueprint partners so that we're all communicating and we're all trying to provide services to our communities. What we saw in the past is that a lot of people are doing a lot of work, a lot of organizations are doing a lot of work, but they're doing them in silos, and we're trying to bring everybody together so that we can put together a more comprehensive plan to serve our community and make sure that we are understanding who's touching our community and how we're providing that wraparound service to that community. So our justice victims advocates, what they do is they are that direct first contact that gun violence or any kind of violence, any kind of victim. We don't just deal with gun violence, but we're focused on the blueprint right now because it is a gun violence blueprint, but we also work with domestic violence, we work with youth, we work with all kind of different community and safety justice issues within our community. So our justice victims advocates are kind of first on the scene. They're the ones that are dealing directly with the victims, meeting with them, doing assessments, see what kind of services they need. If they need additional service, whether it be therapeutic, clinical, wraparound services, if they need housing, if it's a food issue, whatever those things are, our justice victims advocates are meeting with those individuals and starting case management with each one of those individuals. So every individual that's been involved in a gun incident since May has been touched by our department, by our justice victims advocates. They create case management, and sometimes, a lot of the times, they refer out to our blueprint partners, which can be TRI, which could be youth and family, it could be first followers, it could be an array of different partnerships that we have throughout the city to provide wraparound services for those individuals. The justice victims advocates will set up transportation, they will set up hotel stays for individuals who are impacted by gun violence and need to stay at the hospital, things of that nature. So they evaluate each case individually and provide the resources that that individual needs or individual family needs to be successful and make it through a difficult time in their life. The justice victims advocates also work with custom notifications, which is with individuals that are on parole, which is kind of, providing them with services, voc services, resume services, trying to find them jobs, housing, things of that nature. So they work with those individuals as well, and have individual cases that they manage throughout the process. Our impact workers help to facilitate all the case management, right? Sometimes they'll go out and they're the ones that are taking individuals to meetings or providing food for individuals, getting those dynamics, those individual dynamics that need to happen on a regular basis while the justice victims advocates are managing the cases. They're doing a lot of the groundwork. They're out there in the community building relationships with the community so that they can get the ear of what's going on. They participate with neighborhood services and engaging the community in activities. So they're kind of like our do everything, right? They go out there and they also manage cases as well with the justice victims advocates, so they do a lot of the groundwork. They set up the meetings, they participate in the meetings, they run meetings as well with our different community members. They also help run the coalition meeting monthly. Okay, so types of incidents that we've dealt with so far are an array, but this is just an example of, we have witnesses that were impacted by gun violence, we have gun violence victims with injuries, we have homicides, domestic violence, custom notifications, and miscellaneous referrals. Those are referrals that may come from an outside source, they may come from the school, they can come from one of our blueprint partners as well. We get those referrals, and then we provide wraparound services for those individuals as well. Some of our service providers, and this is not all of them, but we just wanted to list a couple just so that you have an idea of who we're working with. We're working with CU Trauma and Resiliency. We're working with Youth Family Poor Support Alliances, First Followers, CU Church, and the Housing Authority. These are all individuals that provide resources and help with families or individuals when they're in a crisis or in need. Our community outreach and events are the ones that I talked about earlier with Hedge Pop Park, the block parties. Wherever there's an activity, we try to be there. We try to be at some of the partner meetings as well. We try to be at some of their activities to see what's going on with those activities as well. That would be my presentation for this afternoon. Reluctantly to say, do you have any questions? That's what I'm talking about. I like this crowd.
All right, thanks, Jorge. So as you all know, the blueprint's funded by ARPA funds. This was our big initiative last year to pull together the work we've been doing for years around our community gun violence. So each summer, and it's now transitioned into year-round, we work with our students through Champaign schools, through the YES program. We're still working on getting the Urbana program back up off the ground, but we're bringing Mindy back as we're kicking off our summer employment program and all the activities we're doing with students around employment education.
Hello. All right. Okay. So, hi, I'm Mindy Smith. I'm the supervisor for the YES program at Unit 4 schools, and that stands for Youth Employment Services, if you're unfamiliar with us, although I bug Tracy to get me in here fairly frequently. So if you have been coming, then you've probably already heard me talk about quite a bit of the stuff I'm going to talk about. But specifically, I'm here today looking for employers. So I do want to do a quick review for those of you who may not know very much about us yet. But our mission is creating a yes for every student. And our vision is to ensure that any student who is seeking career readiness and skill development gets the support that they need to set them up for success. These are our values. So we try to model those. Anybody that we bring in during the summer, which is when I get to hire a staff to come keep me company, they're encouraged to model these things, as well as we are really trying to help our students discover these parts within themselves. So a couple things that are new. We did get increased funding from the school district, which is very exciting. So we're facilitating a new ongoing project called Project 250, which is our commitment to serve 250 students at least. More is great, but that's our sort of where the bar starts. And we don't have wait lists anymore. So one of the things that also changed, which I don't know is included on a slide, we have 2 levels of support now for our students, and that was an effort to listen to the students a bit better and meet them where they are. So not all students want to be placed in a job and told where they're working for the summer. Some are already finding jobs on their own. Some are not quite ready to take on the responsibility of a summer job yet. And so we were losing those students where we could actually still teach them valuable skills, help them with resume building, teach them how to interview. But originally we couldn't help them if they weren't willing to be put in a job. So we developed a level of support called Select. So those students can now have that option where they're not committed or guaranteed a summer job, but they can still come to me for one-on-one help as they need it, sort of like ordering off of a menu. And then our classic level is our traditional program. So if you know anything about us already, that is the version of the program that we have been running for a number of years now. Included in our increased funding is the ability to hire more summer staff. So we were edging very close to our summer staff being overloaded on the number of students they were following around all summer. This was very exciting now that we get to bump our budget up more than double to the potential to hire up to 7 staff for this coming summer. And we also purchased a more professional curriculum. I was building it in Google before. It was okay. It got the job sort of done, but this is way cooler and much more put together and comprehensive. So we're really excited. We're rolling that out very fully this year during our paid training week. And then we also are doing some job preparation. I'm working on a speaker series for our students, which is also a new endeavor. And finally, all of our events are back in person this year. So if you have joined us in the last 2 summers as an employer, we've had an online career fair. Again, it was okay. It's definitely not the same as being able to share that energy in person. So we're really excited to have that back. These are the clusters of career centers that we had represented last summer. So you can also see that even though they may be represented, there are some where there's maybe only one option within that cluster. So the ones that are highlighted have only 1 or 0, and those are the places that we're really looking to increase our employer list for moving forward. The types of work that our students did is encapsulated in this slide here. So we always have a heavy amount of positions within childcare or summer camps. We also have a lot of students who want to do that, so it's good. We don't want to lose any of those partners. But we are seeing a lot more emerging interest in things like engineering, STEM, healthcare, even teaching. I've now had more students asking about these areas. And so, and then also the trades. We have a lot of students who are interested in working with their hands, building, creating, designing, all those types of things. The call for employers is really important this year because we're currently running a roster of 200 plus students. So that's both levels of support. That's our classic and our select, which means we aren't necessarily looking for 200 plus jobs, but we are aiming to have about 125 of our students paid by our program or the pay facilitated through our budget. So we really need to be sure that we have employment sites to cover that many students, and we really want a varied approach to who we have to offer. This is our work dates. So this year we are running, we expanded, we tried a thing last year where we expanded our dates. That was interesting. We're going back to a very tight 6-week program for students to work. So that's gonna be June 19th through July 28th. If you directly hire your student, which means they go on your payroll, which we love, those rules go away. So then you don't have to worry about that. They can work more than 105 hours if they're on your payroll. They cannot if they're on ours. We are contracted to how many hours they can work and when they can work. You also get to build a schedule that works for you and your students. So we have several forms employers fill out that help guide you through the process of working with us. And we also take care of, again, if we're the ones who are covering the payroll, then we cover all the payroll and tax paperwork. So you don't have to worry about any of that. All you do is confirm their hours worked each payroll period. Our students are 14 and up, and we do the work permits if they are 14 and 15. So again, another piece of paperwork that you don't have to worry about other than completing your section on it. And again, we are having our career fair in person. I'm very excited that we'll be holding it at Central High School this year. Traditionally, this event has always been held at Centennial, and while Centennial has been a wonderful host, we thought maybe this year we'd let Central not travel across town to the event. So we're gonna try to look for a little bit more equity with where we're holding those events and bounce them back and forth each year. Let's see. Okay, so this one is a little bit of a repeat. You also get a worksite coordinator from us. So you get a direct contact, a staff person from our program. They will be your liaison with the student, with the families, with the program. They will help with paperwork, payroll, any issues that may arise throughout the 6 weeks. And then we're also bringing back our employer orientation and sort of onboarding sessions. We haven't done that the last couple of years with COVID. I did have a few drop-in Zooms last year that were sort of attended, but we're going to actually do these again in person. So food will be present, which is very exciting, I think. So the goal is just to get together, do an overview of what the program looks like, make sure employers feel comfortable and that they're set up for success hosting a student over the summer. The expectations of our employers, we just need really clear and concise expectations about the job that you have for students. That's probably the most important thing that you could provide to us. And then also having a specific person or maybe 2 people in case someone is out where the student knows to go to if they have questions or someone who's directly supervising them while they're at their job. You also just have to verify, again, your hours during payroll so we make sure that what the students are reporting on the app is accurate to what you have seen from them. And then you can communicate any issues or concerns. We just ask you do it quickly so that we have time to manage those situations before they get out of control. That doesn't happen often. I don't want to make it sound like that happens all the time. But if something is coming up, we just want to hear about it quickly. And then make sure that the position you're providing offers these things. So skill building, network opportunities, and or leadership opportunities for the student. In other words, we don't just want them kind of popped in a corner or sat at a desk with no real guidance. We really want them to feel like they're getting kind of a mentorship opportunity or some chance to discover something within themselves. So this is where you can find us. You're giving me the wrap up, Tracy. I got 2 minutes the last time. This is my last slide, I promise. So I do have to jet. So I won't be able to stick around and linger afterwards, but this is where you can reach me if you are interested in being an employer. This is an email, office number. We have Facebook and Instagram. Also on both of those, you can sign up. We have a monthly newsletter that goes out that includes student highlight, get to know you type things. So I would love to hear from you if you have an opportunity or if you have questions. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you.
All right. So, for those of you that are here, the coalition has been around for a number of years, and we just have a number of great initiatives and partnerships and programs, primarily for our students. And so each month we try to highlight different activities, put a focus on the projects that are taking place in the community. So each month, hopefully you learn about something new that we are doing. So Joycelyn's gonna come up and talk about our Black Mental Health in the Black Community series.
Hello, everybody. I've been working with Donna Tanner Harold, and so we're having 3 programs, panels. We had some last year, and they were well attended, and I think people really got a lot out of it. So the first one's February 16th from 9 to 11 at Parkland. And there's a flyers in the back on the table. There's another one that's going to happen at another time, but right now we're just advertising the February 16th one. So if you're interested in learning about or being updated with Black mental health in the Black community, please come out and join the panel at Parkland. We had very good conversations.
All right, I didn't have to do anything there, right?
I learned my lesson.
See, I'm getting a bad reputation here. I don't know, folks are like, hey, you didn't have to do anything today. All right. So we're going to have our law enforcement leadership come up at this time. An important part of our monthly meeting is our partnership and connection with law enforcement. And they kind of come and talk about each one of their departments each month and things that are happening internally and then out in the community. I'm not sure today. You do it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? My name is Tim Tyler. What I really want to talk about today is transparency. First slide there. So today I want to talk about the work that our officers are doing to keep our community safe and to promote transparency in the process. We do that because we want you to know everything about what we do, even if some of the juicy details that our media partners may get and enjoy, but we want you to know that we are fair and impartial. On a personal note, I wouldn't do this job if I could not be transparent. So transparency means everything to me. So for those who haven't visited us lately, I recommend you check out our website. You find copies of our department policies and procedures. If you have any questions about what we do and how we do it, there's a very comprehensive approval regarding policies that we have to fall in with state level requirements. You can learn about our members in our command team. We got all our bios on there. You can also see our strategic, our city efforts to combat gun violence, including 4 years of data on shots fired, shootings, and property damage. There it is there. We're very focused on community engagement, so you can check out what we're doing in the community, our community engagement programs, and how we work and connect with our community. As always, you can always file a complaint or a recognition for police officers. Go to that website and file your complaint. It comes right in. It goes to our internal affairs. You can read all our press release, new initiative, and major incidents. We also give you total access about all the arrests that we make in our police media reports. Slide number 12 here, you can view the interactive map that shows you 6 months of crime data. It's zoomable and onto the block where the incident occurred. You can find information on how our technology, the technology that we're using, including body-worn cameras, automatic license plate readers, and very soon, a gun detection program that we're getting next week. You can learn also about the processes to review the conduct of our officers, including the review of every use of force, employee conduct reports, and information on citizens review subcommittees. We're on Facebook. We share a lot of great information on Facebook and Twitter. Also, if you have any specific questions, you can. We got our Coffee with a Cop. It's on Valentine's Day. We're going to do some great, nice things to our community members, so please join us there. And if all else fail,
You didn't hear that, did you, Chief?
No, I didn't.
They said you're going to do things with. But what you said, you're going to do things to our community members on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So the weird part, I probably know everybody in the room by now. They know. But here's the deal. I'm Tim Tyler. I'm a citizen first. I'm a dad. If you want to get in touch with me, that's my direct email and my direct cell phone number. Call me anytime. I will answer questions. Also, if you go on our website, we went to the 4 district lieutenants. Their faces, their names, their emails, and their direct cell phone numbers are there. Transparency and doing things right is what we do with the Champaign Police Department. Thank you.
So a couple weeks ago, I was having lunch with Minnie Pearson from the NAACP, and we had a pretty robust conversation about data. And Chief Tyler just got done talking about some data. And through the course of our conversation that Minnie and I were having, we talked about a lot of different things. And so one of the things that she asked me to do was to come and talk about how we collect data. This is going to be a little bit focused on shootings just because we talk about shootings so often here, but this is really true of all the data we collect. So let's talk about what the process looks like. So a call comes in to MECAD 911. That's our 911 center. Those calls are recorded, there's a dispatch ticket created, and an officer is dispatched and investigates the incident. The officer, while they're there, determines if a crime occurs. If one's occurred, they write a report. So that's the first review of an incident that occurs. Of course, we always have supervisors working, sergeants at the Urbana Police Department, and they hear the same calls. And occasionally, they'll say things like, "Why was it that you cleared that call with no report?" And that is a second level of review. And of course, they review the written documentation as well. So the sergeant reads the report. If there's any corrections or if there's questions about the incident or about the investigation, the sergeant can bring up those questions and question the officer the same day. The report is then processed through our services division, which is data that's entered into our system, and then goes to our criminal investigations division, where it's reviewed daily by detectives and supervisors. They review those cases for a number of solvability factors, And they also look at the incident and determine whether or not the documentation is correct. So that would be a third review of an incident. Those cases, if we believe that they have high solvability factors, are assigned either to the officer that took the report or to a detective. And then ultimately the investigation is completed. So moving on from there, let's talk about some of the reports. So the reports have lots and lots of data, codes upon codes. Back in the Stone Age, when we handwrote reports, we would literally fill in these codes by hand. We had giant sheets of paper in our report writing area, and we'd have to put in all these codes. The federal government requires codes. The state government requires codes. We can sort these codes 6 ways from Sunday, and we have a crime analyst that does exactly that. We can sort by victim information, offender information, types of evidence, the place, the circumstances regarding an issue, and things that we call crime codes. Every kind of crime that we have in our manual for a records management system has an individual code. And so, like I said, the crime analyst can search these codes 1,000 different ways. With respect to shooting investigations, those calls are also tracked and reviewed manually. The administrative assistant assigned to the investigations division looks every day that she is at work for shooting calls in the Champaign-Urbana metro area. And she finds incidents and says, hey, what about this one? And so that's a 4th review for shooting investigations that we go through. So with respect to shooting investigations, let's talk about when we take a report. We take a report when there's a confirmed shooting. So how do you define that? And all these agencies here essentially define it the same way. Are there shell casings at the scene? Do we have multiple people reporting a shooting? Is there property damage? Obviously, if somebody's injured, if an officer heard it, or other facts that would suggest the shooting occurred. Does this mean that we record every shooting that has occurred in Champaign-Urbana? No, because not every shooting is reported to us. But every shooting that is reported to us that we can determine with a reasonable level of certainty that a shooting occurred, we record that as a shooting, a confirmed shooting. And that is true of the Urbana Police Department, and I would venture to say it's true of the U of I Police Department, and the Champaign County Sheriff's Office, and the Parkland Police Department, and the Champaign Police Department. That's a lot to kind of take in. So I have 2 things to talk about. Does anybody have any questions about this? Okay. The second subject that I want to talk about is opioids. So I had a conversation with Chief Tyler yesterday, and we talked about a number of things. And we talked for about 40 minutes. He always makes me laugh when we talk. And he said, hey, listen, one of the things that we've been talking about, I think it would be really important that we talk about at Coalition tomorrow. So I got to do some slides for Chief Tyler. See? So I was only going to do 3. I like 3 slides. That's my max. But today you get 6 because there's 2 topics. So I would like to talk to you about something called Operation Overdrive. Operation Overdrive is an initiative by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, and it focuses on opioids, fentanyl in particular. I don't know if y'all have been paying attention, but fentanyl is a big deal right now. It's been a big deal for a while. Fentanyl is killing lots and lots of people. In October of last year, I was in Dallas at the International Association of Chiefs of Police Conference, and the director of the DEA, a woman named Ann Milgram, came to talk about fentanyl. And she said, and perhaps you've seen these billboards throughout town, the pictures of pills, even one pill can kill. The reason that those billboards are up is the Drug Enforcement Administration estimate that 40% of those pills contain lethal doses of fentanyl. 40%. 4 chances out of 10 that if you take one pill that you will die. So, the DEA is doing what they refer to as Operation Overdrive currently in 34 communities across the United States. After this presentation from Director Milgram, she said, if anybody's interested, come up and talk to one of my members of leadership. So I marched up and introduced myself to the special agent in charge of the Chicago field office, who said, "I'm not your guy, but I've got a guy for you," and pointed me to somebody else. A few weeks later, I made contact, and the assistant special agent of the Chicago office drove to Urbana to meet with members of the local police departments to discuss Operation Overdrive. As you can tell, overdoses in Champaign County are a real thing, and they have been for a while. So I have data from the Champaign County Coroner's Office, and I'm not going to post it, but I just want to show you, just to sort of illustrate this point. These are, and this is perhaps the smallest font ever invented. I'm going to go with maybe 3-point font. These are names of individuals who have died from drug overdoses in the last 3 years in Champaign County. Okay? Most of these are fentanyl related. The News Gazette has done a nice job of tracking this and reporting this to the community. Here's a couple headlines. Not yours, Ethan, Deb's. Here's a couple headlines from the News Gazette. And here's a press release from the Drug Enforcement Administration from February of 22 talking about this new program, Operation Overdrive. Again, 34 locations. The closest location is Peoria, Illinois. And because I'm getting really good at PowerPoint and the snipping tool, here is part of a handout, a flyer that the DEA has put out there. So they're talking about 100,000 drug overdoses in the last year, 100,000 U.S. citizens, 275 daily drug overdoses, with homicides increasing 30%. And of course, there's some statistics related to firearms with that. Fentanyl is simply an issue we must address, and we in Champaign County, and these fine folks up here, are working to do that. I'm working to do some analytics with respect to the data that I received from the coroner's office, report that to the DEA, and see if we can bring the DEA to town to help stand up Operation Overdrive in Champaign-Urbana. Any questions? Yes, sir. Excuse me. Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking you said fentanyl is the most critical thing in our community. I thought meth was. Meth is not?
Fentanyl is incredibly toxic. Methamphetamines absolutely is on the rise, but the amount of fentanyl that it takes to kill a person is so small.
Okay.
So small. We actually keep Narcan in our evidence office for officers just in case they're accidentally exposed. That's how toxic it is.
So how are they getting this stuff?
The short version is that cartels in Mexico are ordering lots and lots of precursors from China. They're delivered by the metric ton. Mexican cartels are standing up super labs in Mexico, and it's being flooded across our borders.
Okay. All right, just curious.
It's a great question. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm a little shorter, so I will move this down just a tad bit, and I promise I'll be more concise than my counterparts, Tracy, all right? Good afternoon, everybody. Happy New Year. I wasn't able to be here last month, and so it's great to see everybody again. Champaign County Sheriff Dustin Harmon. I just wanted to go over a couple of things. As we're talking about data, I am putting the final touches on our annual report. This will be the 4th year that we've put out an annual report at the Sheriff's Office, and that will be posted online on our website where the other annual reports are as well. So I would say a week or two, and we should have that information out. We also, some of you may know, we have a mobile app, and that's not a new thing. But when we were talking about, when Chief Tyler was talking about all the data and statistics and things like that, our mobile app is free to have if you have a smartphone. And you can actually keep track of everybody who's arrested and what they're accused of committing, the crimes they're accused of committing, and what agency is actually making that arrest and then taking that person to jail. So if you're interested in information like that, that is absolutely available free of charge on the Sheriff's Office mobile app. So I wanted to talk just a second about recruitment retention and looking at the future of community engagement and things like that. Right now is the time we're starting to schedule things throughout the year, including our back to school barbecue again in August, a couple of coffee with the cops and things like that. We are down 3 deputies right now. We are projected to be down 7 deputies by June. Obviously, that's an entire shift for me. And so while we're not going to have an entire shift that's not working, right, we're going to have to spread those resources out on other shifts. Obviously, that affects our proactivity a little bit and our community engagement a little bit. When deputies are running call to call to call because there's not enough of them, that's less time to be proactive and get out of their cars and do things like that. And so we are hastily looking for anybody who wants to be a deputy to go through that process. We have not reduced our standards. We still have the same strong standards we've always had for law enforcement and corrections, but our candidate pool has gone down. And so if you know somebody who may be a great correctional officer or a great deputy sheriff, I would encourage you to have them get a hold of me, get a hold of my office. There's instructions online. I'm trying to flood Indeed with job postings and things like that as well, so we can make sure that the community at the more rural areas of Champaign County, Dobbins, Scottswood, Ivanhoe Trailer Park, all of those places that the county patrols and relies on us for their full-time law enforcement service, so we continue to provide that good service. Because as we have all mentioned, crime knows no boundaries, right? It doesn't stop at the boundary of Champaign or Urbana, and it's kind of fluid. And so that's why we all collaborate. That's why we all work so well together. So I just wanted to give that pitch one more time, that if you know anybody, please make sure you have them reach out. As always, you know where to find me. I'm very easy to get a hold of, so you can get a hold of me, my chief deputy who was here last month talking to you, or any of my staff if you ever have any questions. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm even shorter than Dustin is. All right, there we go. We are hiring a REACH social worker. That application process closes tonight. So we're expanding our team because we've seen 55% increase in suicide threats from last year and almost double the CIT calls for service. And we're not alone in this. My peers at the Big Ten universities have seen it's very huge increase in mental health calls for service and CIT calls. So it's not just limited here. So we're bolstering our REACH team, so we'll have more coverage. So hopefully that will help provide some services out there. Another critical position that the university is hiring for is the director of the Police Training Institute. Dr. Mike Slosser is retiring May 1st, and this is a critical position that we need to fill at the Police Training Institute. This is a forward-thinking training for police recruits. It's an adult learning process, and they do a lot of scenario-based thinking. They're very innovative and forward-thinking and very progressive in how we train our new police recruits. So that is posted nationally for a new director. So hopefully we'll have someone in place by May 1st for that position. Finally, we're still seeing a lot of the sextortion cases on campus, and we're seeing a lot of overseas scams that are affecting our international students. And finally, thanks to our community outreach and support team, to Metro, we're hosting Coffee with a Cop at McDonald's at 616 East Green Street, and that is the day after Valentine's Day on February 15th. That'll be from 8 to 10. So that's all we have from the U of I, and thanks. Question?
My question is, what is sextortion?
That is when people solicit nude photographs. They kind of hook up online, like an online date type of thing, and they solicit nude photographs, and then they hold those. And if you don't pay that individual money, they're going to publish those nude photographs online and publicly on social media.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That was it. Okay.
I'm Troy Daniels from Parkland College, and Wanted to briefly mention, I know Crime Stoppers is one of the partners of the Gun Violence Prevention Blueprint. We just had our monthly meeting, and the money and assistance from this program, the partnership, you cannot believe the number of significant gun cases and arrests that are being made because of this partnership. Crime Stoppers really does keep people anonymous. If you go to 373tips.com, it will strip the identifying information of the web tip. If you download the app, the P3 Tips app, you can real-time communicate with Crime Stoppers completely anonymously. It strips the identifying information. And if you make a phone call, that call is answered by a call service in Canada. That also makes it much more difficult for tracing of anyone making the phone calls. We don't record any tips. When we deliver money for rewards, it's completely anonymous. We never ever know your name. So if you know of anyone that knows any information and they're not a witness, they're too afraid to come forward. Certainly coming forward to the police is always the best thing for us to solve the case. But if they just can't, they're just too afraid, please go to Crime Stoppers. As far as Parkland goes, real brief, this is the perfect time to send young people who are struggling to apply for Parkland for next fall. There's a program called SWIFT, the Support for Workplace Training, SWFT. I guarantee you in healthcare, transportation and distribution, construction and manufacturing, business and IT, they will pay you to go to college. Everything's free. They'll actually pay you money to go to college. And so if you know of any young people who are struggling, they can't quite make it in the U of I, they don't know what they're going to do, please send them to Parkland. Get with an advisor. I think there's a gentleman right there that can help you out. Please send them there. That's a great place for a young person to start. Thank you.
Hey, Rich, I see you guys are running out. So let's talk. It's probably been pre-pandemic since we've had a discussion about the drug activity in the community. So let's focus one of our coalition meetings to have a more in-depth conversation about this, or maybe we need to have a special community coalition meeting so we can have a community-wide discussion about this subject.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really important is that we take a look at our data, which we're starting to get from the coroner's office. And of course, our data is more complex than just people that have died, because we handle drug overdoses all the time, where the police department, the fire department, the EMTs are bringing people back. So that's part of the crime data that we're going to have to look at and really do a better analysis. The hope is through Operation Overdrive that we can leverage the analytics and leverage the resources of the DEA to provide some investigative leads to address people that are selling fentanyl in our community.
Okay, thanks. So, going to get a chance to learn about the Wall Street Jewelers. Going to bring Sean up, and let's give him a round of applause. So you all know Sean. He's been intricately involved in the work of the Community Coalition, and this new initiative is his brainchild, and so we're going to turn it over to the Wall Street Jewelers.
Thank you, Tracy. If you guys can come and post right here for us. Just to give you an overview, my name is Sean Williams. I'm one of the founding members of Community Coalition. As you guys have worked tediously like I have for over the years, trying to combat gun violence and seeing what we can do to tackle our problem with gun violence through all of our communities across the country. And so I think back in 2020, we all were kind of locked down for COVID, and I'm at home with time on my hand, and I started trying to figure out the stock market, and got introduced to the stock market a little bit before COVID, and I started YouTubing. And so I started thinking about community and stock market and how does this work and those type of things. And once I started learning how it worked, I started thinking to myself, I'm like, man, we really need to know this information. So we actually started teaching the classes. I taught them for free with a friend of mine at a church. We started introducing it to the kids, adults. We started having adult classes, and we continue to keep the program going on because I think that a lot of our gun violence issues are centered around being impoverished and during just economic disparities. And so if we can figure that out, we can probably reduce our gun violence by a tremendous amount. So I'm going to turn you over to one of our instructors. His name is Mr. Roland Hunt, and these are our youth Wall Street jewelers and Mr. Titus Kyles.
Thank you. We got to do better than that for the students. Let's give them a round of applause.
So good afternoon. My name is Roland Hunt, and I'm a Wall Street jeweler. Our communities have for way too long been devoid of the economic know-how of investing and basic money management. In 2020, Sean Williams and I set out to address this problem. We started conducting trading courses, communicating principles to build financial wealth. Last year, our vision expanded to include children. In December, we offered a pilot program that had some amazing results. Today's presentation highlights the impact of this program. Our presentation will feature our students reciting our Wall Street Jewelers Creed, recognition of the winners of our of our virtual stock market challenge, photos showing the Wall Street Jewelers in action, highlights and reflections from some students, and thank you to the individuals and entities that have supported and collaborated with us. We'll have the students come up.
I am a Wall Street jeweler. I am dedicated to the path of creating generational wealth for my family.
I will not blame others for my failures.
I'll use the pain of the past to ignite fuel for my future.
I am a Wall Street jeweler. I am at the beginning and the end of my personal growth.
I know who I am and control who I become.
I am a Wall Street jeweler.
I will respect my peers and manage my time wisely.
I will apply myself of learning the tools and creating general wealth. Generational wealth. I'm a Wall Street general wealth. I am a leader, not a follower.
I'm a Wall Street jeweler. I will practice the principles to further my growth.
I will never be satisfied with lack. I will be a giver and not a borrower. I am a Wall Street jeweler.
I will develop and create opportunities for my friends, family, and community.
I am who I say I am. I am a Wall Street jeweler.
Thank you, jewelers. Our students are afforded the opportunity to make stock purchases through our virtual stock market platform. Over 20 students entered into the Wall Street Jewelers Stock Club competition. We would like to recognize those who finished in the top 3. Please stand while I call your name. Everyone is standing, so that's okay. So third runner-up was Keisha Pettigrew. Keisha Robinson. Thank you. The second runner-up, Sinai Gatson. And the student winner of the first Wall Street Jewelers Club stock competition is Zaria Zaira Johnson. We had over 29 students enter our competition, and these students finished in the top 3. Please give them a round of applause. We have one more award that we like to hand out to Shanice Claiborne. Thank you. As I mentioned in my opening, the Wall Street Jewelers started back in 2020 with adults. Here are a few photos of Wall Street Jewelers in action. Our program has participants from various communities, ages, and grade levels. We'll now hear from a few of our students about their experience in the program. Titus Kyles.
Good afternoon. First, thank you to the Wall Street Jewelers for allowing me to represent them on this occasion. My name is Titus Kyles, and I am a freshman at Parkland College. I've been with the Wall Street Jewelers since I was a junior in high school, and they have played a major role in my development. Being part of this program has allowed me to learn how to trade stocks, options, and Forex. Due to this knowledge, as a senior at University Laboratory High School, I led their investment club in returns to a stock simulation competition. Aside from money, the Wall Street Jewelers have taught me how to work with others, how to teach others, and how to apply knowledge. These are all skills that have aided me in college and in the workplace. In short, the Wall Street Jewelers is a one-of-a-kind organization. They have helped me go from a high schooler who didn't know what they wanted in life to an economics major with aspirations of becoming a hedge fund manager. The Wall Street Jewelers can only help you, not hurt you. Thank you for hearing me out, and have a good day.
Next, we'll hear from Jakub Tanoko. Jakub is very unique because he joined us during the last week or 2 weeks of our program, and he learned about our stock market game. He was so innovative and excited, he went back to school, invited 5 of his friends, and opened his own game. So I really, really love I love all my students, but Jakub touches my heart. Jakub?
Well, wait, the question, right?
Tell us about your experience.
Well, first of all, I would have never thought that I would have gotten with a stock class. I thought that it would be fun to learn about stocks. I know that there's a lot about it in the future, and it will definitely make a lot of money, make me not go bankrupt. But then after I joined, it gave me way more actual real perspectives about it, and not just a funny stocks thing around my life. So now when I grow up, I'll be able to pay my taxes. I can actually get more money than my job pays me, and it'll just do so good for me.
Thank you, Jakub. Next, we'll have Sinai Gatson. Sinai is in the 6th grade. So our reach goes to the elementary all the way through high school. Sinai, just tell us a little bit about your experience.
I really love this game because it helps me
But I love this game because it really helped me learn about real life. Instead of buying shoes from Nike or something from Nike, I can buy a share of Nike and make more money.
Next, we would like to have Keisha Robinson. Keisha, she is 10 years old. So she is, when we first structured the program, we wanted a certain age limit. And we met Keisha, and Keisha just told us there's no limits. So we wanted her to speak today. Keisha, just tell us a little bit about your experience.
Oh, at first, I started to like it, then I didn't, then I started to like it even more.
What did you learn, if anything?
Well, I learned to not spend your money on useless things.
Anything else you want to share? Thank you. Last but not least, we'll have Azaria Johnson. Zaira, forgive me, Zaira Johnson. Zaira is the older sister of Sinai, and I feel like they're my own kids. So, Ms. Johnson, tell us a little bit about yourself and the experience you've had with the Wall Street Jeweler.
Hi, I'm Zaira Johnson, and I'm 13, 8th grader at Edison Middle School. And so far, I've had a good experience with the Wall Street Jewelers. It's been fun, and it's been very, very, it's been like a teaching for me. It's like very good, very good, very good.
Take your time.
In games like the game that we are in right now, the Wall Street Jewelers stock competition, number 2, they really helped me experience trading and get me motivated to start actually doing it and not just doing it in the game. And yeah.
Thank you. Quick question. What's a T-bill? Anyone can answer.
A T-bill is a type of bond that the minimum is 90 days to do it, and the maximum is 1 year, and you have to pay it to the government.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm getting the signal to wrap it up. So we would like to say thank you to the following organizations. And should you be interested in contacting us or becoming a member of our group, this is our contact information.
So we have a question, Miss Pearson.
Hold on, you got to get on the mic.
Excuse me. It's not a question. I'm very, very, very passionate about children. And so what I want to say to you and your Wall Street Jewelers is that knowledge is power. And what they're gaining from this group is power. And you can tell that knowledge is not free because it's not taught always. So it's powerful. It's not free. So evidently, these students are paying attention. You have to pay attention in order to gain knowledge. I'm just telling you the truth. These children are paying attention. Some people don't even know how to keep a checkbook. And look at these people. Give them another hand. I just wanted to say.
Thank you.
We'll wrap it up.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you. If you need any brochures or can help us out in any type of way, we have some in the back. So thank you very much. Thanks to Tracy Dace. Thank you very much for bringing your kids.
So yeah, we like to take credit for coalition and money and sponsoring, but helping Sean get that off the road. And again, another example of what our students can do when given the opportunity and exposed to important work and information. All right, so a couple of things here for information sharing. We've talked a lot about our News, Brews, and Beats series. We had a really powerful event last Thursday that will be airing tomorrow. We had the Chancellor in the house and got a chance to have him and part of his leadership team on the panel, so we've got a little clip to show you.
Three University of Illinois leaders discuss what motivates them.
Never give up, never give in, never say die.
New community connections.
That is tearing down this town and gown history.
Any student who's going to be a part of this platform to access the resources that are tied to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign.
And programs with a purpose.
You know, some people often ask, well, why are you so passionate about K through 12 education? You're a university, that's not your job. It's not my job, but it's my responsibility.
Please join Illinois Public Media for a News, Brews, and Beats conversation Thursday, February 9th at 7 p.m. on WILL TV, YouTube, or streaming live on the PBS Video app.
That's tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Jill, anything we need to add? Jill's back from WIL. Do we have a mic for her, please? No? Kellen, got to speak on the mic so we can hear.
Thank you, Tracy. It airs tomorrow on WILL TV. You can also watch it on the Illinois Public Media YouTube channel or the PBS Video app. So it's amazing. How many people have attended News, Brews, and Beats in here? How many people have heard of News, Brews, and Beats in here? Okay, very good. Tomorrow night, please watch 7 p.m. WILL, Illinois Public Media app. I have the QR code bars if you want those. Thank you so much.
All right, so next thing we want to share with you, so I want you to Google tonight, or right now, whatever, Centoya Brown Long. Phenomenal story, incredible story, in fact. An unbelievable example of resilience, and so we're bringing her here through the community. Did Dr. Jackson get to make it? Yeah, there she is. Kellen, can we get Dr. Jackson a mic? We're going, she's giving me the cross nose sign. So Dr. Jackson, well, at least stand up so they can see you. She's with Student Affairs on campus, and so they're bringing her in next Wednesday. We're partnering with them to have a community session, a private community session next Wednesday. But we're having a public screening and sharing of her documentary tomorrow night, Champaign Public Library from 6 to 8 p.m. Invite you out to that. Again, we want to have our students, identified students, come out and meet and learn. We're going to have a book signing. Yeah, I've got another flyer. So Centoya Brown Long, really, really go and check that out. And going to be a phenomenal time in our community next week. And thanks, Dr. Jackson, for bringing her in. And thanks, University and our Community Coalition partnerships. So here's the university event. It's not quite open, but it's more open than what we're doing during the day. And but check this out. And if you're working with students, foster care system, juvenile justice system, young ladies who are in just tough home family situations, needing some inspiration to learn and see that they can navigate and work their way through some very difficult situations. So we're having a book signing next week. We want to share that with the community. Centoya Brown Long, a phenomenal story. So wanted to share that with you. It's something else we're doing through the coalition. All right, so I love you all. Thank you for the work you're doing in our community, and we'll see you next month.